Hello, and welcome to Afternoon Tea with Karen and Dr. Abramovich Clips Part 2. So, from YouTube, Part 1, I watched most of this, which is from 9 years ago and has had 45 views.
Another mission that they were involved in, which I only know the name of, which was Operation Solomon, was also about bringing was actually about bringing a large amount of people to Israel, wasn't
Yes, that's right. Operation Solomon was part of another operation which was called Operation Moses. Operation Solomon was quite an incredible feat. More than 14,000 Ethiopian Jews in the space of 34 hours and on 30 planes were brought from the Sudan to Israel. And the Mossad was instrumental in organizing the different locations for them to be picked up. It was a follow-up to Operation Moses, which again was a military operation in 1984, in which again thousands of Ethiopian Jews were brought to Israel. So the Mossad not only works in a sense by going into other countries, it's also about fostering and developing relationships and preparing the ground. I should mention, by the way, as we speak, Operation Wrath of God, because that's in a sense one of the most famous ones, and it was popularized by Steven Spielberg's film Munich. And after the 1972 massacre of 11 Israeli athletes at Munich, the Munich Olympics, Prime Minister Golda Meir gave the order to hunt down the Black September group, which was responsible. And a hit team, what's called a Kidon, a bayonet team, was sent, and 11 Palestinian terrorists were eliminated in that particular operation. And it's, in a sense, as I said, there have been several films which have depicted the operations in Europe. It was an important one because it sent a very clear message that the long arm of Israeli justice will reach out anywhere and where Israelis are either in danger or Israelis are being killed.
I am speaking with Dr. Davia Abramovich, who is the director of the Centre for Jewish History and Culture at the University of Melbourne, and we are talking about Mossad. Now, those are Mossad missions that worked out well. Have there been Mossad missions, and you mentioned this before, that often we only hear about Mossad when things fail. Has there been one quite spectacular failure that Mossad has been involved in?
Yes, I'll talk about two very quickly. The first one is called the Lillehammer Affair. And what happened was that while pursuing and hunting down those responsible for the Munich massacre, the Israeli Mossad agents mistakenly killed a man called Ahmad Bouchiki in 1973. He was an Algerian-born Moroccan citizen working as a waiter in Lillehammer, Norway. And he was shot by mistake. They thought that they actually identified Ali Hassan Salameh, the Red Prince, who was one of the leaders of the Black September. He was in 1979 eventually killed by a car bomb. And the Israeli agents were caught and were sentenced for various terms in jail. The second botched operation was the attempted assassination of Khaled Mashal. Khaled Mashal is the head of the military unit of Hamas, and this happened in September 1997 in Jordan. It's quite an extraordinary tale. The team was following him, and they had an injection. They were going to inject him with poison, which, apparently any contact with the skin would have led to death. But what they weren't aware was that Mashal had his daughter with him in the car. And she opened the door and ran towards him, and he turned his head, and the poison was actually injected into his ear. And the Mossad agents were caught, and after discussions between Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu at that time and Prince Abdullah of Jordan, Israel agreed to provide the antidote. So there have been, in a sense, screw-ups, but we don't hear about them often.
Now, Davia, one final question before I let you go, and thank you so much for coming on the show and telling us about Mossad. It's been fascinating. How do we know so much about Mossad? Because I would imagine that they want to keep themselves as secretive as humanly possible, but we do seem to know quite a bit. Or do we? Is it just an impression that we are allowed to have?
That's a very good question. There's been a cottage industry of books coming out. People are attracted to the mystery and to, in a sense, the kind of international esteem that the organization is held at. And I understand that after the hit on the Hamas leader in Dubai, there have been T-shirts with the agency's logo, which are selling out in Israel. We know a little because there have been some very good books that have come out, books by people like Yossi Melman, Imperfect Spies, who's a very good scholar. But I think one of the reasons that we know more about the organization is that in May 2004, it broke with tradition and it actually opened a website. The reason was to attract potential recruits, and in 2010, as I understand, it's getting something like 900,000 hits a month. And if you go into the website, you see that it's very smart, it's very clean, but it's also very simple. There's a statement about what the operation is, and it invites people to actually submit their applications. I'm not sure exactly what you need to become a Mossad agent. I'm not sure what qualifications. I'm sure it's more than just a BA at the university.
They've never tried to recruit you?
They never tried to recruit me. I think I'm simply too boring and don't have the requisite skills. I think I'll stick to my day job.
Dr. Divya Abramovich, thank you so much for coming on the show. It was a great pleasure to talk to you and very interesting to hear about all about Mossad. I hope you have a lovely Sunday, and again, thank you for chatting with us.
Thanks, Ellen. Appreciate the opportunity.
Oh, that was interesting. Now let's watch something else.
The oldest survivor of the Nazis' Angel of Death has called on the Home Affairs Minister to deny US commentator Candace Owens an Australian visa. Annette Abel was experimented on by Auschwitz doctor Joseph Mengele. The types of experiments Miss Owens has denied took place. Senior reporter Caroline Marcus spoke to her family exclusively.
Annette Abel and her identical sister Stephanie were among the few who survived Auschwitz Dr. Joseph Mengele and his notorious genetic experiments on 3,000 twins during the war. After Stephanie's death in 2019, Annette became the world's oldest survivor.
And your reaction to the transfusion, you became...
It was horrible, yes.
The 100-year-old from Melbourne is urging the government to deny US commentator Candace Owens a visa for her upcoming tour. Among Ms. Owens' more controversial statements, conspiracies about Jews and Holocaust denial.
They experimented on twins. I mean, some of the stories, by the way, sound completely absurd. Even if you're the most evil person in the world, that's a tremendous waste of time and supplies. Just slice a person in half and sew them together. That just sounds like bizarre propaganda.
Ms. Abel told Sky News the comments are a dangerous distortion of historical truth. I still bear the physical and emotional scars of Mengele's cruelty. The pain, fear and trauma I experienced were very real, and to hear someone deny those atrocities is a fresh wound to my heart and an insult to the memory of those who perished. Daughter Daphne says her mother and aunt spent their lives educating others about the Holocaust.
Her coming here is going to put our cause back completely, and it's a dangerous move to have her come here.
It's a call echoed by the Anti-Defamation Commission's Divya Abramovich.
Allowing Candace Owens here will be a spit not just on the memory of the Holocaust victims, but on the memory of the diggers who fought and died to defeat Hitler's regime.
Candace Owens is due to perform 5 shows in Australia from November 17. Tickets are selling at $95 or $1,500 for a VIP dinner. Mr. Berg says he hopes Ms. Owens has a good refund policy, and while she's yet to apply for a visa, the concerns of Holocaust survivors are of great weight on this issue. I have no tolerance for anyone wanting a visa who will ignite anti-Semitism. The commentator refuted claims she's a Holocaust denier, telling Sky News, I welcome any and all survivors of such atrocities to attend any one of my events to discuss this with me. me. Her full statement is on our website. Caroline Marcus, Sky News.
I wonder what cause that is. Anyway, for another time. See you later, bye.